Microphone is working, folks. What do we got? We got Christian, Mr. Ted Williams. Wow, we got a legend in the building. Daniel, how you doing? CH, why are you disgracing the good name McDonald's like that, man? They don't deserve to be compared to the Yankees. What's up, neighbors? Nabbers, sorry. Michaela, how are you? Josh, what's up with you? Paul, how you doing? Picardicus. Yeah, Picardicus. What's up, Matt? Jack, how you doing? Mr. Mad, per my fever dream, John Henry selling the Red Sox. Yeah, that is a fever dream, my friend, because he's going nowhere. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? First live stream of the offseason, folks. We actually have a lot to talk about in terms of potential rumors surrounding the Boston Red Sox, which will be interesting. Eric, can we start the offseason off on a good note? Huh? One offseason. Let's start it off on a good note, huh? Who am I rooting for in the postseason? My brain says Mets because they also hate the Yankees, but my heart absolutely nowhere near because they're also New York. I wouldn't say the whole season, Matt. I would say June and July weren't. My evening's good, man. I'm excited. This is the first off-season live stream, which will be a ton of fun, I think. Going to be a ton of fun. There's going to be a lot of arguing. Mr. Robbie, how you doing, my friend? There'll be a lot of arguing, a lot of talking about, because there are, already the Interest Kings are back. The problem with calling them the Interest Kings this early is that they can only be Interest Kings, right? I've been seeing that a lot. Oh, the Red Sox are already Interest Kings. The Red Sox are already Interest Kings. But, yeah, that's the only thing they can be. They aren't competing for a World Series, so, and they can't talk to free agents, so here we are. Hot stove streams are back. They are back. We'll see how they go. I'm excited. We got more people in here. We have more people subscribe to the channel, so we'll see. Glad you were wrong about who? Grissom? I wouldn't say you were totally wrong yet. There are signs, though. I've been saying there have been signs for a minute, so we'll see. What's up, Mr. Bob Dylan? Hey, Mr. Bob Dylan, I just responded to your email. When you get back to me, we'll take care of it. Should I trade for Scooble in the offseason? Don't tell Mike that. Do not tell Money Mike that. Wonder what the penalty is if a team gets caught talking to a player before the transaction period begins. I honestly think it's pretty big. I don't think it's something small. Padres hate LA. I love it. That series has been so much fun to watch. Any chance they get rid of Cutter? Yeah, I would say, it depends, right? It depends, right? Because from what we've been hearing, it sounds like the Red Sox are. I see the problem is the second I say this, I'm going to sound like an idiot, but it does sound like the Red Sox, from everything we've heard, sort of even sort of impartially, right? Not just from Breslow and Kennedy, which is just simply, at this point, it's just words, right? No one believes them, but from what we've heard from inside the organization, the conversations between people who are doing the day-to-day stuff, who are talking to these reporters, it does kind of sound like they are ready to do something. So it kind of depends with Cutter, right? You look at Cutter and you say, well, if they get, say they go and they get a Fried or a Snell, right, which they've already been kind of linked to a bit, and then they trade for, I don't know, Nick Lodolo, right? Well, now Cutter kind of loses his spot in the rotation a bit because Giolito's going to be in there. Giolito's going to be in there. Bayo's going to be in there. Houck's going to be in there. You add 2 more pitchers, and unless you go with the 6-man rotation, you're putting Cutter in the bullpen. And at that point, right, as much as the bullpen needs to be overworked, is it worth having him in the bullpen, or is it worth trading him and seeing what you can get? That's kind of the question, right? So honestly, I don't know. It's a tough conversation to have. The problem right now is there are probably about 100 different ways the Red Sox could go about this offseason, and people are already sort of denying, I would say 70% of those, because they don't believe that the Red Sox are ever going to spend again, which look, I'm not here to defend anything, right? So I don't know. My dream free agent signing for the Sox, dude. I love Max Fried for the Red Sox. I think that'd be such a perfect fit. Neighbors, putting David Hamilton as our starting shortstop and Trevor Story as our starting second baseman is crazy. Crazy. What up, QB? Yeah. Nick Pivetta isn't coming back, I don't think. He's Max Fried is no, he's only 30. Bayo in a package for Austin Riley. That's, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. And the Braves would, in my opinion, the Braves wouldn't trade straight up Bayo for Austin Riley. It would cost more than that. They have to make a huge trade with Meyer if they get Adames. Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily, because if you bring in Adames, like we talked about in the video, there's a couple of different options to utilize him as, right? Say you sign him to a 5-year deal. Say you sign him to a 5-year deal, and you've got Story for another two or 3 years. I think he's a free agent end of 27, I believe. Then they do become more expendable, right? It becomes easier to trade a guy like Meyer or even Campbell, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but if they do sign Willy Adames and you've got Story at second base and you could put Grissom at second base and maybe you could put Meyer at third base and you can move Rafi to DH, now Christian Campbell becomes a bit more expendable. So, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I think it makes it easier. What's up, Mr. Versatility? Let the offseason begin, baby. Fried is nasty. Fits Boston so well. It quite literally, I don't think it could be any better. Genuinely. It feels like a perfect storm. It's going to be tough to get him, but it feels like a perfect storm. Hamilton may have traded me on his forehead. Yeah. I agree. Is Burns an option? Yeah, he's an. I mean, if you're the Red Sox, if you're not looking at Burns, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? So you have to at least consider it. My Japanese source says that Roki's only interested in going to LA or San Diego. That makes me want to throw up, dude. If LA gets another Japanese superstar, I'm gonna lose my mind. Castillo for Massa and a prospect. Castillo is currently making bank. Yeah, it'd be perfect. I don't know if the Mariners are going to want that. I thought Juan Soto just went yard there. I gotta figure this out. There we go. Now we're updating. The Sox need a stronger season versus a deeper playoff run to restore Fenway faithful, a much better home record and road record. I mean, yeah, obviously, right? If they're better, people pay more attention. Do you move Campbell over Meyer? No, I don't think right now. Honestly, I don't think you. I don't think you can. Right? I don't think it's a tough conversation because I think Christian Campbell fits what the Red Sox need more. I think Marcel Meyer still has the higher ceiling. So it's a tough conversation, right? I think it just depends on what do teams want, right? At the end of the day, right? The Red Sox can dangle 100 different players out there, but only a couple of them are actually going to be people that teams want. So we got to figure that out. Nice catch, Bobby. Let's go. It sounds like Tyler O'Neill will be back on a long-term deal. I really hope not. Fried said a year ago he wanted to go to the Dodgers, so it might be tough to get into Boston. Look, I mean, you could sit there and Teoscar Hernandez said he wanted to come to Boston, right? At the end of the day, it's going to take two. It's going to take two to tango here. Yeah, Crochet will be an option, Jack. The White Sox have already kind of said. The White Sox have already kind of said, yeah, we're absolutely trading him, basically. Like, yes, he will be traded. I get nervous about Crochet. I do. And there are people out there who are like, screw it. The Red Sox need to make a big move. And you're not wrong, right? The Red Sox need to make a big move. But at the same time, too, initial thoughts going into the offseason. I think this is going to change very quickly. Because I think a lot of teams are going to realize a lot of things about what the market looks like and whatnot, and kind of be open up to the trade possibility. But right now, it looks like the guy that's going to be on the trade market is going to be Crochet, which means his bidding war in terms of prospects is going to be really big. And there are a lot of risks with Garrett Crochet, and there are big ones. There are a lot of positives. There are a lot of risks. I get nervous. I get really nervous about it. Yeah, versatility. I agree, but the problem is they keep fumbling. They keep fumbling. Decent attempt from Montgomery. Yeah, but I understand the idea, right? I understand that people are fed up with the front office. I understand, but here's the way I'm looking at it: is you're in an entirely different situation going into this offseason. And again, they also Montgomery denied him a 4-year deal. So they did put a decent offer up there. It's not that they didn't put a decent offer up there. It's that Jordan Montgomery didn't want to come to Boston, right? Again, it takes two to tango. But what I will say about this is, here's the way I'm looking at this. I'm taking everything we've had over the last, 3 off seasons now, 22, 23, 24. I'm keeping it in the back of my mind. But at the same time, too, you also have to take into consideration all the other factors that are involved with what could possibly happen this offseason. And that's, in my opinion, really important, right? Because last offseason, they have the full throttle, the high war players that people don't end up in there. Which is hilarious, Eric, because he was absolutely disgustingly bad, and now the Arizona Diamondbacks regret having his contract. It's just that whole situation's hilarious. But at the end of the day, right, you come into 24, new CBO. The whole plan the whole time once he got in here was he needed time to assess the situation. He wanted to see what the youth looked like on this team. Well, now you come into 25 and you understand you're in a very good spot with the youth on this team. I think it's a different situation this year in terms of how aggressive the Red Sox are going to be versus last year. And that has nothing to do with comments made. That has nothing to do with comments made. Right? I am taking, and it sucks because you're hearing all the things that we've wanted to hear for years, right? The problem is those things that have been said are the same things that were said last offseason, the season before that, and the season before that. So you take all those comments, you just kind of throw them away immediately. You just kind of sit there and you say, they don't mean a damn thing. They don't mean a damn thing, right? But this offseason, yes, Noah, that's kind of what I was going for. There's just like last year you had an excuse. You had a reason, not a reason. You had an excuse to not do it, and you utilized that excuse to not do it. This offseason, what are you going to tell people if you don't do what you need to do, which is have a big offseason, whether that's big on trades, whether that's big on free agents, what should be both, right? If you can't do that, or you don't do that, last year you had the excuse of, we want to see what we have in our youth before we really invest in this team. This year you can't use that excuse. You can't use the excuse of a poor market. They're looking at 2026. I mean, that's fine, right? But at the same time, too, you got to 18 by acquiring David Price beforehand, by signing Xander Bogaerts beforehand. Right, that's at least my thought process, Eric. Is this year was sort of just the finality of the full build, and now they start to really put the pieces together. And whether that means versatility, like you were talking about, where, maybe they make a big splash this offseason and then sort of middle around with those middle guys preparing for 26, 27, when they think they can truly enter their window of competition. Right? So as much as we sit here and say, yeah, see, like he's already saying it, but like, and I understand, and it's not that I'm sitting here saying, man, I think they're gonna spend big money. My whole point here is, man, they don't have an excuse not to. Right? You look at last year. You look at last year and you say, man, they should have spent money on this team. They should have spent money on this team, and they didn't, right? Even if you want to look at some of the guys that they did go after that they wouldn't go to that next level for. Imanaga, Teoscar Hernandez, who is Seth Lugo, right? They didn't go for those guys. They didn't go the extra mile for those guys. And an Imanaga or a Seth Lugo or a Teoscar Hernandez, what does that do for the 2024 Sox? Are they in competition? I don't know, but it would have made the team, it would have also put them in a better position coming into this offseason. This year, right, the excuses just don't work. The excuses just simply don't work. You can't have them anymore. So I think this offseason is going to be different. Regardless of what you are currently thinking about this team, yeah, he absolutely could. You're absolutely right, Eric. He absolutely could sit there and say, you know what? We're trying to build from within. We're trying to be like the Tampa Bay Rays. They're never going to publicly say that, but we believe that our business model is making money on the Fenway experience. And it could absolutely be the case. But at some point here, people are just going to stop. People are just going to stop. Like, already you're going down here. I don't know. Who would fit that spot? Oh, you need to get rid of Massa first, Kevin. Pretty crazy. MLB team payroll factoids. Ooh, a little factoids, Mark. 1 through 6 in MLB payroll all made the playoffs. Interesting. Number 15 made the playoffs. Number 20, number 21. So it was literally the top 5 teams and then like the bottom 5 teams made the playoffs. I don't think that influences the Sox. I don't know, man. I don't know. No, it's just straight moonshine, Kevin. Hurricane is here. Yeah, everyone in Florida, I hope you guys are safe, man. That stuff is terrifying. No, you're right, Dill. But like if they had just spent a little bit more than what they spend now, a little bit more than what they spent coming into this year, they probably would have had Lugo or Imanaga, and those guys probably would have had similar seasons to what they had now. And you know, your team's probably in a better spot, not only for last year, where you'd probably have 83, 84 wins, and then, you know, how close are you to a playoffs? I don't know. It's never gonna happen. Like so many people called for them to boycott, and so many people did boycott the Red Sox, and attendance went up compared to last year. It's not gonna happen. They are making too much money on too many things, and even if attendance at Fenway goes down, everyone's like, "Oh, we got to hurt them in their pockets." You think people go into a I don't even know any popular rap artists, honestly. I'm so bad. I don't. Like, I went to Post Malone at Fenway. You think people that went to Post Malone at Fenway really gave a damn that they were giving money to John Henry? No, probably not, right? You think the MGM Music Hall that had, what do they have? They have Judas Priest the other day. You think those guys are going there and thinking, man, I can't believe I'm giving John Henry money? No, probably not, right? And the fact that they bought out most of the real estate on that strip, honestly, both strips, right? You think anyone that goes to Cheeky Monkey or Game On, which pays rent to FSG, thinks that you see what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to lose that much money if people don't go. Woo would be fantastic. I think we made a video last year on going after Woo. Tristan Casas bobblehead. Where did I put that? Oh, it's up there. Yeah, it is. It is good. If not O'Neill, what right-handed power hitter? There are a couple really interesting options, Eric. I think the most obvious fit is Teoscar Hernandez, right? He was healthier. He had about the same season. He's got playoff experience. Feels like a good fit for the Red Sox. He's not great on the field, but can play the field. You can swap him in and out of DH. Then it gets a little bit trickier. Every other sort of right-handed power option that's on the free agent market, we talked about Willy Adames today. It's kind of a weird fit. Talked about Alex Bregman a little bit ago. That's kind of a weird fit. Pete Alonso, that's kind of a weird fit, right? So there's really no perfect fit when it comes to right-handed power. No, Teoscar signed a 1-year deal with I thought he signed a 1-year deal with a whole bunch of whole bunch of, what are they called? Residuals? That's not the right word. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't think that's a crazy thought, Picardus. I think that's sort of been talked about a lot. I haven't been here in a while, but school's letting up this week. Happy to be back. Welcome back, Jackson. Incentives? No. Deferrals. Deferrals is what I was looking for. Thank you, Fort. Rafaela, to me, feels kind of safe because I think the Red Sox have already sort of decided. And they've already sort of decided that, hey, whatever we get offensively from Rafael is a plus. We're using him as sort of a defensive juggernaut, right? Someone who can play second, shortstop, left field, right field, center field, right? At an elite level. So I don't know if he makes sense to move. Plus, they need to, I don't know if it makes sense to move. Pete Alonso makes sense. Not really, right? You need to shore up. There were two big things that the Red Sox mentioned when they talked about positional players. Well, there's three. Right. The first one is that they're gonna trade most likely from their surplus of middle infielders and outfielders, specifically left-handed outfielders. The second thing is that they wanted to balance out the lineup. Now Pete does match that requirement. The third thing is that they wanted to improve infield defense. Pete Alonso, in my opinion, had the same amount of, it's not even an opinion. He had a very similar strikeout rate to Tyler O'Neill this season. Doesn't play very good defense at a really premier. People underestimate. Everyone's just like, let's throw Rafi over at first base. Like first base is. Remember when Franchi Cordero and Justin Turner were splitting time at first base? It was brutal. It was brutal. You lose so many more games if you have a bad defensive first baseman than if you have an adequate one. And I'm not saying Tristan Casas was adequate this season. He needs to be better, but at the same time too, he's 24 or 25, 24, whatever. He's in that age range, right? There's room for him to grow. Pete Alonso just kind of is what he is. So you're getting similar power numbers, similar strikeout rates to Tyler O'Neill, but you're getting worse defense at first base. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think the Red Sox, I don't think anyone should pay a lot of money for Pete Alonso. I don't. Are we done with Casas? I think it'd be absolutely dumb. Who said they wanted to spend less, E? Because I haven't seen that anywhere. No one's talked about whether or not they're going to spend $60 million. Oh, the Red Sox just fired a bunch of coaches. First base coach Andy Fox, bullpen coach Kevin Walker, assistant hitting coach Luis Ortiz, mental skills coach Ray Fuentes, trainer Ben Chadwick, and bullpen coach Manny Martinez. Yeah, it looks like Fatsy made it through. It's interesting that they essentially cleared out the bullpen coaches. They were like, yeah, this is not working. No, Fatsy's still here. Yeah, I wonder why. No, Fatsy was not fired. That's terrifying, Eric. None of those guys make a difference. I don't know. Bullpen coaches, trainer. I think there's some legitimate stuff there. Nothing super crazy. Probably not video worthy. Okay, CH. Ask the Brewers if Alonso should get paid. I don't get that. What's the tax base? I think it's about $60-70 million until the first luxury tax with everything included. What's up, Prodigy? Ugh. Yeah, Francona coaching's sick. Henry's looking for non-Cora scapegoats. I mean, dude, if you consider firing a not head trainer a scapegoat, I think we're just looking for stuff to complain about at this point, to be honest with you. Like 2 bullpen coaches, I'm not entirely sure that's scapegoating anyone, right? I think that's just a genuine, hey, I think we could get someone else in here. Yeah, I figured that would be Jack. Right, I don't. Look, I mean, you could say it's scapegoating. I don't think it's scapegoating. He's an upgrade from Casas. I mean, dude, come on. Go ahead. Why, King? Kevin, I think we're mixing. I think you're missing something. Arbitration money needs to be in there. Oh, you got 15 mil for the 3-yard players. Are you doing expected payroll for the younger players as well? Kaz has been mediocre at best. Oh, Xavier, dude, come on. What's up, Pac-Man? What's up, TT? So much Casas hate? Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. What prospect do you think would be put in a package to get some starting pitcher? It's an interesting question because, like all of our, like, at least in my head, no, I don't think they trade. So they like trading Story, in my opinion, would be kind of dumb, right? Because the only way you're going to do that is if you take most of the salary. In terms of the prospects they're gonna trade, it's so tough. Mr. Speed Racer, how you doing? It's so tough to talk about because it's just we're not gonna know until they trade somebody from the starting lineup, right? I think that is genuinely the only way we're gonna figure out which prospects are sort of. Someone got mad at me for saying the word chopping block for Wilyer Abreu. It's just the way I've always talked about it. Right? So it's not chopping. People when people hear chopping block, for some reason they go immediately to, okay, so you're just getting rid of them to get rid of them. That's not entirely what I mean, right? But if you see a Wilyer Abreu, David Hamilton, Chase Mydroth combination package trade for a number 3 starter somewhere, or maybe you put Cutter Crawford into that combination, you get a number 3 starter somewhere, right? Then the understanding is, okay, so the idea is you're making room for Campbell, Anthony, Meyer, and Teal. I think you're making room for regardless, right? But if you see a trade that's sort of like, Massa, they get rid of that contract, they essentially salary dump him, and David Hamilton. Well, now you can have a conversation of, okay, well, why didn't you trade anyone from the outfield? Is Roman Anthony on the block? So, see, versatility comes in with Abreu, Campbell, and a lower prospect for a decent starter. Yeah. I think that's sort of what I expect. I don't expect them to. I really don't expect them to trade any of the big 4. Do they go? I would put Braden Montgomery in there too. I don't expect them to trade Braden Montgomery. I don't know. You just need to play more. Yeah, well, everyone wants him to play more, Xavier, but to say he's done nothing is absolutely absurd, right? His last season, he played 110, 115 games, and he was one of the best first basemen in all of baseball. And you know what I also hate about sometimes Red Sox fans get this idea in their head that like everyone's like, oh, they couldn't get a deal done with Tristan Casas. That must mean he's never signing a deal, right? We're going to lose him in free agency. We got to get something for him now. Guys, he's not a free agent until 2030. You've got time, right? Maybe this offseason he says, hey, you know, I was hurt this year. I want the stability. I want reassurance. I'm going to be here. I love this team. I want to be here for a long time. Maybe next year, right? He has a great season, and he's like, man, that was hella fun. The Red Sox made the postseason. They got to the ALCS or whatever, right? Then he signs a deal. It doesn't need to be done the second they hit the majors or, hey, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Right? I hate the idea that, like, it's just so ingrained in people's heads that because they didn't get a deal done with Mookie Betts, they got traded, right? Mookie Betts is such a unique case. There's so many other examples of players who do want to stay with their team and who do sign long-term deals, and some of them are second or third years in the league. Lindor just hit a grand slam. Wow. Lindor's a freak, dude. What is the big rumors? Dude, relax. I'm trying to get to questions here, Tony. Putting it in all caps makes me not want to answer it. Ask politely. Right. Picardis, it haunts every Red Sox fan, right? And I think that's sort of the mindset that a lot of fans go into conversations about young players with, right? They go into conversations where they say, well, they can't get a deal done. I don't want Mookie Betts again. Get rid of him. And the other thing, too, is I think a lot of Red Sox fans are scared to make trades. I think a lot of Red Sox fans are sitting there and they're saying, we're going to get burned again like we did with Mookie Betts. And again, it's fair. But at the same time, too, you can't. At some point, you got to put it out there again. You got to make another big trade. Lindor's a perfect example, right? The Mets made a big deal for Lindor. And guess what? He's hitting grand slams in the postseason. You think these guys miss Andres Gimenez? It's the versatility. It's not just that. It's that you know, the conversation I have with a lot of Red Sox fans in the comment section is, well, we can't trade this guy. He's good. Right? Like we had the conversation with Wilyer Abreu the other day. And everyone was like, well, why would you trade that guy? He's good. Yeah, I understand he's good, but you also have a lot of other good players trying to make it to Major League Baseball, right? And it's the thought process of, well, why don't we just trade Story and Massa for a starting pitcher? Because that's not how the league works, right? You can't hold on to all your good players and expect to get good players via the trade, because you're not going to get every single one of your good players from free agency unless you want to wait and slowly build up, or you just do what the Dodgers do and invest $1 billion. But even they are what? They're losing 2-1 to the Padres right now. It's right here, Tony. Right here. No. Yeah, versatility. No. Yeah, you were. I wasn't going off on you. I was just going off in general about what I've been seeing in the comment section. Yeah, and the bad trade deadline moves, they don't help. But at the same time, too, you look at the trade deadline moves, and I mean, people are going to sit there and going to say, yeah, I knew they were all going to be bad. And sure, but you definitely weren't going to be able to predict that the two relievers you got were historically bad with injuries, right? That's just, you can't look at all those statistics and say, oh, man, yeah, I knew that one wasn't going to work out, right? You had no idea that those guys were going to get injured. I'll give you Paxton. For sure. I think we all kind of expected him to get injured, but you know what I mean? If the Sox could get one starter, who would I go after? I would go after Max Fried. If you're dogging free agency, I would go Max Fried. Do you think we focus towards a guy like Fried who's going to be expensive, or a guy like Buehler coming up? You know, Prodigy, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. There are a couple of people out there, and that MLB executive burner Twitter, I don't love that one. I think it's just some dude who's not even well connected. I think it's just some dude who's reading a whole bunch of articles and putting out whatever. That's besides the point. But he connected the Red Sox to Fried and Snell already. I just I don't know. James as a right-handed bat was a little underwhelming. Yeah, for sure. It's yeah, the Buehler, so there's two angles the Red Sox could go about this, right? They could go about it in sort of the Kansas City Royals way, where they sort of scout, they look at it, they say, okay, we're not going to spend a ton of money. Not gonna spend a ton of money, but what we are gonna do is we're gonna spend enough money to make the team better. We're gonna go after these sort of mid-level guys. Maybe they didn't have the best season last year. Maybe people are worried about health, and we're gonna see what they can do. A Waka, a Lugo, right? And all of a sudden, you're playing the Yankees in the ALCS or ALDS. Overvaluing projects, kind of like bringing. Yeah, but can you name another project Breslow himself has brought in outside of Giolito? Like, I see that a lot. But like everyone's like, oh, Breslow only does projects. How much is Soto worth? I'd probably be over $500 million. One thing to keep in mind, Giant stars were crap before AB got there. The first year they were better, and the second year they were nails. Hey, maybe. I actually do have a lot of faith in Breslow, Willard, and AB to really have a good offseason. This will be their first true full offseason really working with these guys, so. Bargain bin starters again. There just weren't any starters last year. Like everyone's like, I was bargain bin. There was a starter, right? The Red Sox brought in a singular starter. It really wasn't even a conversation about bargain bin. There was no shopping. There was a shop. That was it. Where do I think Vlad goes? I think Vlad stays with the Blue Jays. I think a lot of people are expecting him to get moved. I don't think he's getting moved. Like I genuinely think Blue Jays are looking at it and they're going to try and move. If they're going to try and move either of those guys, going to be Bo Bichette. I wouldn't say. See, the problem with that AT is Priester is 23 years old, right? Priester's 23 years old. That's essentially young. That's a prospect, right? He was the youngest pitcher in Worcester. He would have been the third youngest pitcher in Double-A outside of Perales and Wickelman Gonzalez. You can't really count that as a project. He's a 23-year-old. Sandlin was a prospect, and he actually looked really good this year. So, that's a tough one to say, oh, he's overvaluing projects when you traded Nick York, who was a project in his own right, and John Schreiber, who you essentially replaced with Greg Weissert, who was about the same reliever this year as John Schreiber was. Honestly, I think they should go after Dotel from the Giants. He was great under. Fell apart this year. Is that a reliever? Yeah, I did see that Pac-Man. I was just talking about that actually. Yeah, so for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, MLB Executive Burner, which again, I am not personally a big fan of MLB Executive Burner. I think their tweets are um what's the best way to put this? I think their tweets are lucky. This is the tweet we're talking about. This is the tweet. This is the tweet that everyone's talking about. Hold on. So the tweet from this MLB Executive Burner, again, I don't fully trust them, is expect the Red Sox to make a big play for Max Fried. Fits Craig Breslow's mold. Didn't love Blake Snell last offseason. Fried fits Boston. Will require a big check. Everyone will suspect the Dodgers. California, I don't know. CAA and LA guy, I don't know what that means. I think Boston will beat them on the term and the total. Right? So that's sort of our first legitimate connection. And I'm not going to talk about this in a full video because again, I don't think that this account is incredibly reliable. What I will say is that, whatever he's talking about, it makes sense. I don't think this is any inside information, right? Everything we're hearing in this tweet that everyone's like, oh my God, the Red Sox are in on Fried's on. I mean, it's kind of just, no crap, right? They didn't go after Snell last offseason. That's just a fact that everyone knew. Fried fits Boston, no crap. Versatility was already talking about how everyone expects him to go to the Dodgers. And of course he fits Craig Breslow's mold, right? High velo, dirty off-speed stuff, throws a lot of strikes. He's exactly what Craig Breslow is looking for. So in my opinion, that's more so a conversation about right, that's kind of what I was referring to, Dill. Yeah. Thought they were in on Snell? I don't think they were all that in on Snell. Isn't Burns from California too? Yeah. I mean, Fried's from LA, grew up a Dodgers fan. Yeah. Aaron Judge grew up a Giants fan. Juan Soto grew up a Red Sox fan. He's probably not coming here, right? I think at the end of the day, all these guys grew up rooting for teams. Yeah, I'll probably make a Nick Lodolo video at some point. There's another guy on the Reds I really like too that I got to make a video about. No, I think Judge wore a Red Sox shirt. I don't think that really counts. About Garrett Cole, I have no idea who Garrett Cole rooted for. Garrett Cole probably was the guy who wore that MLB hat. Who was that? Rob Lowe? That feels like a Garrett Cole move. I don't know. I don't love the idea that everyone's gonna be focusing on Fried, but I don't know. About Cole's a free agent? Yeah, he's not leaving. He's not leaving New York. He has an opt out, I think. Yeah, the Mets are gonna go to the World Series. I think I've locked in the Mets for the World Series. Although they're probably gonna have to go through the Padres, and the Padres are you know what I'd love to see in the NLCS? It's just a mash between the two hottest teams, right? Of just the teams with the most weight behind them. I think most people are, the Tigers are up there too, but Severino free agent. I don't love Severino. Yeah, which is good. Yes, please stay. He sucks against the Red Sox. It's awesome. What about Bieber? Yeah, I don't hate. I actually wouldn't mind Shane Bieber at all. I think Shane Bieber would be a ton of fun on the Red Sox. I think he kind of fits Breslow's mold a bit. I think it'd be kind of fun. And my problem is just, is he going to be able to come back from? Is he going to be able to come back from injury well enough? I don't know. Tigers in the World Series, yeah, that'd be fun. The AL's kind of not weak this year. That's the wrong way to put it, but the AL is going to have a tough time going up against the NL this year. I think there's a lot more exciting teams. Yeah, AJ Hinch was a great manager. He did great in the game today in terms of bullpen management. That was really impressive. The Guardians kind of let me down. I thought they were going to be sneaky force with class with their rotation and their offense kind of good sometimes, and their bullpen's fantastic. I really thought Cleveland was going to not steamroll the Tigers, but I really thought they were going to go for it. But just one of those teams, man, that just can't figure out how to get through. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what the Tigers looked like with Flaherty in the second half. Is it really, Mark? I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Dodgers are one. Phillies have to be up there. Mets have to be up there. Padres are absolutely up there. That makes sense. Oh, man, I'd love to see a brawl. That'd be sick. Oh, thanks a lot, Kevin. I appreciate that. Thank you. It feels weird I took a week off. So here's what I think I'm going to do, by the way, as we get through the off season here. So last year, this is just a little bit of housekeeping I was going to talk about anyways. So last year we did every other week we did a live stream. And they went pretty well. I think this year I want to do a little bit more. I want to do just a little bit more. So I'm going to do every week. I still have to discuss it with Jess before I make a full plan here, but I do think I want to do every other week with every week and sort of do it like this. Long stream, like tonight we'll probably go for 2 or 3 hours. Then the week after that we'll do a flat hour, almost like a podcast type stream, right? Where we just sort of go over the hot topics, answer questions, done in an hour. And then we do and sort of go through that. Discuss with Misty too. True. She's going to have an opinion on it. So I think that's the plan. If you guys want anything different, let me know. But I last year there were points where it was tough to come on here because there just wasn't a ton to talk about. I think this year will be a bit different, but at the same time too, it's such a long off season and guys are signing so much later. I think it could be kind of fun to do sort of like almost just like a quick check-in, like, hey, what's the pulse in Red Sox Nation sort of thing every other week, as opposed to doing just simply 2 streams a month. That way we get more live streams in, but we're not overdoing it because I don't want to overdo the live streams. Any interest in Bregman? Any interest? I mean, there's some interest in Bregman, right? I'm good with Ozuna. There's interest in my opinion for Bregman, but I don't know. OPS Plus can be deceiving. What's deceiving about it? Collab live stream with Robbie Hyde. Yeah, it's kind of the idea, Jack, right? I would love to, like last year we got who? We got Doogie traded while we were live. That was kind of cool. O'Neill higher than Duran, for example. Yeah, because it's OPS, right? It's not their overall impact on the game. It's OPS. Tyler O'Neill's slug was so much higher than Jarren Duran's, right? I mean, if you look at any stat exclusively, yeah, you could say it's deceiving, right? You got to look at the whole picture. Yeah, Verdugo kind of does. The longer I've seen Verdugo in a Yankee uniform, the more I think it makes sense. Yeah, so OPS Plus, it just simply compares your OPS to the average in Major League Baseball, how much better or worse you are compared to the average player. You think Soto gets 600 mil? Maybe. He's going to be by far and away the number one person to watch, I think, this offseason. I think he gets upper. Man, I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Where do I think Doogie goes next year? Honestly, I think Verdugo signs I think he becomes like a fourth outfielder for like the Rangers or something. That's my guess. White Sox. Soto signs with if Soto and Roki Sasaki are the Dodgers offseason, we're just gonna have to start assuming, right? It's just gonna be done. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Soto's such an Astro. That would be wild. It'd be kind of cool to see like a Mariners or someone put out a big fat check. You think WAR is far better? The problem with WAR, though, Mark, is if you're talking strictly hitter evaluation, you have to talk about strictly hitter WAR. Like Jarren Duran absolutely murks Tyler O'Neill in overall WAR. But you gotta also consider that Jarren Duran was much better defensively, and that's going to factor in there as well, right? You can argue any sort of statistic. Do I consider Duran big four? No, those are just prospects. Imagine the A's offer him $700 million. Imagine the A's offer him $700. They're like, we're done with this whole cheap narrative. Rangers and Giants. I could see the Giants going nut for him. That'd be kind of cool. I think he stays in New York, which sucks. I think he stays. Sorry, chap. I hate doing that. Yeah, but the Mets going to go for Juan Soto? I don't know. Speaking of Juan Soto, you'd like it if the Yankees overpay for Soto? I genuinely don't think you can overpay for Juan Soto. I genuinely do not think you could overpay for. Even if you gave Juan Soto $600 million. Dude's 25 years old and already like a top 5 hitter in Major League Baseball. He's only going to get better. And his OPS was 988 with 41 home runs this season. Yes, for the next 6 years, getting possibly the best hitter in baseball as he gets older, and then moving him to DH and getting still one of the best hitters in baseball for the next 5 years after that. The Red Sox we're immediately going to get. The Red Sox have absolutely no interest in Juan Soto, and it sucks. Because I think Casas hits 35 bombs in 25. If he's healthy, he'll hit 30 plus for sure. I mean, before he got injured, he had the most home runs. He was tied with the most home runs in baseball before he got injured. And it was a pretty small sample size, obviously, but hits in the bandbox for 81 games, don't care. Don't care. He was putting up numbers like this in other places too. That means, like to me, with a guy like Juan Soto, that'd be like, oh yeah, Aaron Judge would suck if he wasn't on the Yankees. That's just not true. Casas' 40 home run potential. I don't know about 40. I could see him getting up to 40 maybe once or twice, but the Padres are 15th in payroll. What? That'd be sick, Prodigy. I would love to see. I like to see when smaller teams go for it. Like at this point, it's like the Red Sox need to go for it, but Mets are first in payroll. So who's second then? The Yankees? Oh, the Dodgers. Red Sox are 11th. How the hell are the Padres below the Red Sox? Had the Red Sox signed Lugo and Imanaga, how far would they have gone this year? Oh, that sucks. Oh, no, that's getting caught. Honestly, I don't know, Pac-Man, because they would have gone from what? They had the what, 8th or 9th highest starter ERA or best starter ERA in baseball. They probably would have gone from that to like the 6th or 7th. How many more wins would that be? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. I mean, they probably make the postseason, but if they're, it doesn't matter because if their offense didn't do what their offense did, they'd probably be in the postseason anyway. Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox. I think a lot of people blew up Red Sox starters because they had that bad month. But outside of that, they were pretty solid. Like they were a good rotation. They weren't a bad rotation this year. What do we do with Winkowski and Bernie? Leave them off the roster next year, in my opinion. And I like Bernardino, but those guys should be your AAA depth, right? The AAA depth this year really wasn't terrible, but you absolutely, if Winkowski and Brennan Bernardino are your, sort of, how many relievers are in a bullpen? 7, 8. They're like your 9th and 10th or maybe 11th and 12th options in AAA. That's what you should be doing, right? I think you hold on to them and put them in AAA, in my opinion. That's how it's done. You guys may not like this, but Duran could bring in good pitching. Oh, that was drilled. 1-0 Yankees. Yeah, I've been making the Duran. In my mind, I haven't said that Duran is getting absolutely traded, but I really wouldn't be surprised if he got traded. And it's not just me who's saying this, right? Like Red Sox beat reporters are saying, like, yeah, don't be surprised if Duran gets moved. Is Whitlock going to be a starter again or back in the bullpen? I would have to think he'd be back in the bullpen. I would think he'd have to be back in the bullpen. A lot of respect for what the Royals front office did this year. Yeah, it was pretty good. Where it hurt the chemistry. That's honestly, yeah. I mean, the problem with Duran is it's such a specific market. Yeah, we get it, CH. Okay, dude, we get it. like Duran's such a specific market because he has a lot of value, which means that at minimum you're cutting out probably most of the league already. Right? He's a very valuable player right now. So if you're going to trade him, it needs to be for a stud. That's at the end of the day, right? Duran is not the guy you move just to simply make room. Then the problem becomes, okay, so now you've cut, 30 teams into, let's say, 7. Maybe let's say 10 just for a nice even number, okay? So let's say 10 teams can give you someone that is worth Jarren Duran or give you some ones that are worth Jarren Duran. Now you got to figure out, okay, so he's 27. He's got, 4 more years of control. Okay, so teams might be a little bit nervous about the age thing there, especially for what they're going to have to give up, right? It's not just that we don't know what Duran's going to be at 27. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, Mark, right? It's a very, very specific market. Plus, you add in the 27 thing, which I do think, for us as fans, I don't give a damn that he's 27 years old. He was fantastic. But teams are going to say, well, is this worth giving up what we are going to have to give up to get him? And then you add in the conversation of what would that do to this team? Right? Alex Cora talks about him being a leader. Young guys on this team talk about him being a leader, right? You look at the example he set on the field. In terms of how he played the game, that's great to have in a clubhouse, a guy who can go, 160 whatever games and give you the day in and day out. Because he's 28 is why he's movable. Yeah, if Jarren Duran put up that season at 20, 23, 24, we'd be talking about giving him $200 million easily. But 28's a lot different. And I really hate to bring this up because I hate having conversations about it because it's unbelievably divisive. But teams also have to consider the suspension he got this year, the multiple arguments he's gotten in it with fans over the last couple of years. That has to be a conversation amongst teams. So all of a sudden, your market goes from right off the bat 30 to 10 to probably 4, 3, or 2. And so there's only a couple of guys here. That's why I think it's going to be difficult. Again, I think Duran's a possibility to get moved. I don't want him to get moved, but I think he could get moved. The problem is the market is so unbelievably small for him. It would have to be the perfect deal, and I truly believe that. If the Red Sox move him just to make room for another guy that could possibly be him, I'm going to be unbelievably annoyed. But if the Red Sox move him because that's the way that they are going to get, a legitimate high caliber starter with a legitimate high caliber whatever, maybe a high caliber reliever or pitching prospect, then you might have to at least consider the conversation. Realistically, who do I think gets moved this offseason? I would say realistically, the guys who are sort of at the top of at least my list in my head as sort of people in terms of what Breslow said so far, I would say Hamilton's up there. I would say Abreu's up there. I would say Meidroth feels almost certain. I would put Massa on that list. Yeah, I wouldn't. What up, James? I wouldn't put Grissom on that list just because the value's so low. Any word who? Yeah, genetic. It was a couple of bullpen coaches, a trainer, Andy Fox, the first base coach. That's about it. Yeah, it could be, Scott, for sure. I just like it's gonna get complicated to move Duran. Yeah, Rule 5 guys. Dude, Mark, as much as I love Jarren Duran, 27 home runs. I love Duran. Like if this is his peak, like people expecting more from Duran is kind of wild, right? You talk about a top 5 WAR player in Major League Baseball. Top 5 WAR player in Major League Baseball. If that's what, like, that should be his peak. Like, expecting more is kind of wild. Yeah, probably will. Probably will, Prodigy. No, it won't. It won't, Bob Dylan. It won't get you premium pitching, which is why in my head, again, no one wants to get their hopes up with how the last couple of off seasons have been, including myself, but you got to pay for a starter, pay for a legitimate frontline starter. Then you're okay moving a guy like Abreu and moving a guy like Abreu and Hamilton and Mydroth and getting a 3 or a bullpen arm. You know what I mean? Because then you can compete with your big prospects without having to give away. And again, I hate putting Abreu in this category of not too much. But man, right? Like, ugh. They're not going to be. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a winter weekend this year. He faded down the stretch. Yeah, but wouldn't that concern you a little bit in trying to get to that? I understand, like, yeah, now he's got a full season. But even Cora during the presser this year was like, yeah, we're not going to do that with Duran again next year. He's not going to play every single game. They kind of, honestly, versatility, the thought is kind of the exact opposite, at least from what I've seen, right? I don't think they're going to let him steal 50, Mark. I mean, they told him not to steal this year to keep himself durable. So I don't think they let him go to 50. Loving the quotes I've been hearing from the approach this offseason. Weary because any of it. Yeah, I mean, it's just the case that they're in. Yeah, we could be happy with any of the quotes they said, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be part of us that say, yeah, but we've heard that before. Yeah, but it means nothing. It sucks. Unfortunately, Abreu is going to be seen as a solid rookie who's protected against lefties all year. Yeah. Yeah, Willier's an interesting conversation. I actually think, it's going to be tough to argue down his value a ton. Like, yeah, you can argue that down a bit, but you got to remember he's probably going to win a Gold Glove, right? He's going to come top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. Like that's a pretty valuable player, especially for a team that wants to compete now. That's the thing, right? And it's going to be interesting again because even I put Crochet for Willie Abreu, and I talked about it in the Willie Abreu video, but you sit there and you're like, well, we could just trade him for anybody. But it's like the Duran thing, right? The market shrinks the more you talk about, okay, he has to fit a certain people. But yeah, and he should win a Gold Glove. He was the best defensive right fielder in the AL. He was. I'd be curious if the Sox waited on Hamilton trade till mid-season next year. Yeah, but they might honestly think Campbell's ready to go this early. Cedon wins utility Gold Glove. He should. I don't think he will. What would the trade package? Brian Wu and Luis Castillo would be totally different. It depends, right? If Seattle, I still think Seattle and the Red Sox trading Massa and Luis Castillo for each other would be so perfect. It would be so perfect. It's literally what the other team needs. It's not totally crazy in terms of money value. You would probably have to attach somebody to Massa, but like at the same time too, that just feels so right. Brian Wu would take a lot more. I think Brian Wu would be like you're probably talking one of the four, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think you're alone, Cran. Which team would want Hamilton? It depends, right? It's kind of a the Padres losing Ha-Seong Kim. Is that somebody they'd be interested in? Seattle, probably not. Yeah, I was gonna make a video on Miyagi versatility. I'm waiting for all these guys to officially get posted. Mark, was that during the? I think was that during the 2020 season. Yeah, it does feel so obvious, Del. It feels so unbelievably obvious. Yeah, I think one of the Gold Gloves he won. Yeah, Kansas City. Look, dude, like the pitching height thing to me, like last year, so many people had that conversation with Yamamoto. So many people had that conversation with Yamamoto. And it was like, dude, at the end of the day, if he's a good pitcher, he's a good pitcher, and he was a good pitcher when he was healthy, right? One of the most interesting reports, the Red Sox pivoting from the trade market to free agent market for the top line starting pitching. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly because things are going to change during the offseason, I think. I think we're going to see a lot of different reports about what Seattle wants. I think we're going to see a lot of, but so far what we've heard is that Seattle doesn't want to trade any of their starters. They also don't want to, Marlins also don't want to part with their top guys. Right, so if those guys are gone, like San Diego's probably not giving any their starters up. You do have some options with the Reds, maybe. Maybe they want to go and get a little bit more offense. Maybe those guys are on the board. Oakland doesn't really have anybody. Kansas City's contracts are all pretty quick. St. Louis has Sonny Gray, but that's sort of it. So if Seattle and Miami are out, if those two are out, okay, then you don't really have a ton to pivot to in terms of offense. Or I'm sorry, in terms of pitching on the trade market. Obviously, you got to go to the free agency. Could be cheap. Yeah, it'd be cheap in terms of prospects. Wouldn't be cheap in terms of money. Scouts all overhyped for pitchers. Well, yeah. I mean, scouting a 16-year-old is different than scouting a guy who was successful in the NPB for 8 years, right? Yeah, but the difference, Brent, is that the Red Sox have kind of come out immediately and said, hey, we're open to trading just about anybody, right? Whereas Seattle has come out and said, yeah, we're good on trading anybody, which is interesting to me. One of Seattle's best prospect is a starter, so I think they would part with one, particularly Castillo, because of the contract. Yeah, I'd be pumped to get Castillo. I'd be pumped to get him. What's it going to cost? I have no idea, right? I would assume that's not going to cost a ton. Because you're right? Maybe it is. Maybe it's as simple as Massa and David Hamilton. Like, what would that do for Seattle? It would give them a solid everyday, legitimate impact bat in Masataka Yoshida. It would give them a potentially solid middle infield or second baseman. They could use a second baseman in David Hamilton. I don't know if like the problem with attaching Willier to Massa is it tanks Willier's value. Like, in my opinion, Willier's really valuable. Especially if he wins a Gold Glove, right? It's going to make him even more valuable. Hey, get Craig Brez on the line for that guy. Think Monty will bounce back next year? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he's a good base steal. He gives you, like, yeah. Like, that would be the offer I'd send to Castillo. I would say, look, I'll give you Massa. I'll pay, $5 million and more a year for Massa, so we get Castillo for 30, close to 30. You know what I mean? Is one contract for another. Don't know they do that without a good prospect. Yeah, Seattle would probably want a prospect, but at the same time, too, look at needs, right? Sometimes it's just about needs. Like who would you attach to? Who would you attach to Massa to get Castillo? Like I'm certainly not even mentioning the big four. I would throw Chase Meidroth in there, I think. Yeah, I think Meidroth would be the prospect I would throw in there. So would you do Massa, David Hamilton, Chase Meidroth for Luis Castillo? Yeah, I think I would, right? Is that an overpay? Maybe, but man, that would be so good. What about Massa having surgery on his shoulder? I haven't heard the fact that we haven't heard anything about that. The fact that we haven't heard anything about that leads me to believe probably not. You don't think our side's enough? Massa, Grissom, Slayton. Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that. I think Slayton. I think the Sox need Slayton. All right, so maybe what if you do all right, so what if you do Massa, Meidroth, like, you know what the problem is? Do you par with? Do you throw Fitz in there? Like, as much as I like Fitz, and I think he's gonna be fantastic. Massa and Christian Campbell for Castillo? No. Right? No. I wouldn't do that. If you're gonna trade Campbell, a top 10 prospect in baseball. Top 10 prospect in baseball for Castillo's tough. The best prospect in minor league baseball last year. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do that, I would want someone younger with control. Like, Castillo's not getting any younger here. Okay. Massa is almost no value, though. Yeah, but neither does Castillo. If we're talking just in terms of the contract attached to him, Castillo, I think, is valued less. Let me see. Wow, the Mets won. For as much as everyone hyped up the Phillies and, like, everything, The Phillies have been kind of disappointed. Like, they've made the playoffs, obviously, but let me compare this here. And obviously, again, I say this every time. I understand that. Oh, it's Mariners. I don't know why I was looking for Seattle. The baseball trade values is never the end all be all, right? But at the same time, too, they do a good job of taking into consideration a lot of people. Yeah, so if you just look at the contracts attached to them, Moss is actually worth more on the trade market, according to baseball trade values. Hey, ZW, thank you so much for watching all the way down there. Need more coming back? Yeah, sure. But again, like attaching Campbell to this, like let's look at this. Let's play this one out, right? Because I think a lot of people are putting Campbell, considering Campbell in there is kind of nuts to me. So let's put this all together here. Right, okay, so this is what it looks like on baseball trade values, right? It would be a ridiculous overpay for the Sox to give you, and I know versatility. You said more, so I'm gonna look at more, right? We're gonna take a look here as to what would put them over into the same value range. Andres Munoz, that would be kind of sick. That would be similar value. I think I would do it then. Like, but outside of that, you're talking about adding in who? Matt Brash? I don't think I add in Matt Brash to that. Like, I don't think that's enough, right? Like that ends up being a little bit of an overpay on Seattle. So it's like, and they lose 2. I don't see Campbell being worthy of that. What are they have Mydroth valued at? Only 2.5. Like, if we do something like this, I don't know, man. This could be. Like, to me, that's a solid deal. Like, you get a middle infielder that you could use at any point in Mydroth. You got David Hamilton who could start at any point, right? If I'm Seattle, I don't know why this wouldn't be at least something you consider. Throwing Rayleigh. What's Mickey Gasper's value? Minimal. Absolutely minimal. Seattle wants power. Seattle also had the most strikeouts in baseball last year. Right? Yeah, Seattle had the most strikeouts in baseball last year. I think they'd do a lot better if they had. I think they do a lot better if they had a guy like Massa in there who could actually, bring down their strikeout numbers. Then you could go out and you could maybe you bring in Tyler O'Neill, maybe you bring in Teoscar Hernandez, right? I think you can get power from other places, and you get a speedster with some contact, you get a solid contact guy with a little bit of pop in Massa, and you add in you add in a O'Neill or a Turner or whatever it is, right? Or a Rosarena you have on that team already, right? I don't know. I think you look at it and you say, yeah, I think you can figure it out. I'm not doing Mark. We're not doing Willier for Massa. That's way too much. It is. It's just too much. That's too much to get. It's the same conversation of Campbell and Willier, right? Like it just doesn't make enough sense in my mind in terms of value given up. Seattle isn't a hitter's park. Well, that's the problem, right? You got to make a trade, Lawson. You have to make a trade. Have to make a trade. You can't go into next season with what 29 players on a 26-man roster. It's just not going to work. You can make a signing, but you also have to make a trade. What if they take some of Castillo's salary? Well, yeah, then of course he becomes more valuable. But again, I still think you would need to eat a lot of Castillo's salary to make that trade equal. Like, of course, the Seattle Mariners fan is all over that deal because it would make it a lot better. Right? They would have a lot more coming into them than the Red Sox get from them. I just don't like that idea. Like it honestly kind of scares me. Like it honestly kind of scares me that it kind of scares me how all over it the Seattle Mariners fan was. Ask him what he'd do if we gave him like a top 10 prospect in our system and Massa. Yeah, if Castillo goes for Massa, then no, there wouldn't be any money eaten in that deal. The Red Sox would eat some money. Obviously, they'd gain money in a payroll, but it just makes so much sense to me. He's in love with Willier? Well, of course he is. What's up, AJ? You think there's any way we can get Teoscar? Yeah, I mean, to me, Teoscar makes the most logical sense for this team. If the Red Sox get Patrick Corbin, I'm buying 2 Patrick Corbin jerseys in red, and I'll get a white one or whatever the new City Connect is. And they'd be right here. Just be Corbin and Corbin over there. Likes Massa for his contact? Yeah. I think it makes the most sense. Sandy Alcantara. Yeah, I don't think the Marlins would be interested in trading Alcantara. The value's just so low right now. Richard Fitz. I love Richard Fitz. He's not going to win a Cy Young, dude. Yeah, I saw that versatility. That would be sick. That'd be so sick. Any interest in Marlins pitchers? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sandy Alcantara would be insane. That'd be incredible. The problem with a lot of the Marlins pitchers is they've just been so banged up. Right? You know, Jesus Luzardo's a guy we brought up. He only pitched what? What was I doing? Oh. Yeah, Luzardo only pitched 12 games this year. He wasn't very good in those 12 games. But either way. Trade for Mason Miller? Man, that would have to be a fat trade. Yeah, I don't think I want Luzardo either. Develop Penrod as a starter? Absolutely not. Yeah, Priester, I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think Priester will be fully ready to sort of make his transition to the major league team until maybe 26, to be honest with you, but I'd say 25. Mason Miller would be like 2 big 4 guys. Yeah, it'd be a lot. Reed Detmers. That would be an interesting one. He had a bad season this year. He was demoted. Oh, come on, Mark. You got to go to that. That's going to be sick. Yeah, Sandy Alcantara on the Red Sox. Be absolutely absurd. Detmers would be a lot of fun too, actually. Detmers kind of has everything, like, aside from control. Aside from being able to not being able to hit the strike zone, he has a lot of what the Sox have been looking for. Massa for prospects? What prospects? I mean, genuinely. All right, Mark, have a good one. Hey, go to that Padres game. You can only go once in a while, you know? Meyer for Alcantara, straight up. I hate the idea of trading Meyer. Good, Mark. Yeah, have fun, man. That's really cool. I genuinely do hate the idea of trading Marcelo Meyer. I understand that, like, yeah, if you want to just get a really good guy, you're gonna have to part with someone, and Meyer makes the most sense just based on where the roster is constructed right now. But watching him be an absolute menace on another team's gonna suck if they do. No, yeah, I think at the end of the day, if the Marlins said just for Marcelo Meyer, straight up 1-for-1, we'll give you Sandy Alcantara, I don't think the Red Sox can say no to that. I don't. I don't think you can say no to that. I don't want them to do it, but I don't know. I trade Meyer and sign Adames. CH sometimes. I do 24. I did 24 road to the show for a while. Right now I haven't played in like 2 months, but now that the baseball season's over, I have nothing to do at night. So sometimes I write a script now at night, which is kind of nice as opposed to getting up crazy early. But yeah, at night now I've been like, man, I don't know what to do with myself. So I've just been playing MLB The Show, trying to collect all the Red Sox cards. So I'm trying to get that Roman Anthony from like collections and whatnot. It's been a grind, but yeah, I did see that. Oh, get out. It's a fair ball though. Score a run. Come on. Yeah, that's kind of my thought process versus it. What's interesting with trading any of the big four that we've been talking about a lot, right, is the fact that in order to do that, you're going to have to get reassurance. You're going to have to get reassurance anywhere. That's sick, CH. Love to see that. Right? So say you do trade, the Red Sox throw their nuts on the table. They say we'll give the Mariners Marcelo Meyer. We're getting George Kirby, whatever. Right? Okay, so what are you going to do? Because Story's not, like, you can't rely on Story to be there for 162 games. As much as I love the dude, you can't do that. Grissom and Campbell, maybe you can must them as Campbell the next shortstop. You need to get some reassurance in here. If you trade Campbell, it's the same situation, right? If you trade Anthony, which please God do not trade Anthony, but if you trade Anthony, you got to get some reinsurance in the outfield. It's just like it's not going to be easy no matter what for the Red Sox this offseason. It's not. It's going to be unbelievably complicated for them to do anything. To accomplish any of their goals, it's going to be unbelievably complicated. The easiest thing for the Red Sox this offseason, funny enough, is their starting pitching, right? If you just pay somebody, your starting pitching problems are done, right? I mean, seriously, you had a top 10 ERA in baseball last year. You've got Tanner out coming off of a career season. Now he's got experience. You've got Brian Bayo, who made great adjustments at the end of the season. His last 15 starts were last 15 is an exaggeration. His last 10 starts were like a 3.6 ERA. Cutter's a solid back end of the rotation guy. You're getting Giolito back. You add in a legitimate frontline starting pitcher from free agency. Okay, you're done, right? You're done. The problem is the other things. The other things are going to be the bullpen and then the lineup that they want to stabilize. Oh, come on, get down. Yes, Juan Soto missed. It's a tie game. The Kansas City Royals have tied it up. He's going for 3. Get on your horse. I don't know who that is. Go. What happened, Soto? What happened? But anyways, back to the conversation, right? The complicated parts of this offseason are going to be how do you almost completely retool the bullpen? And then how do you balance out this lineup? Because anyone you want to bring in free agent wise in terms of this lineup, you gotta maneuver something, right? You want to bring in a Teoscar Hernandez. You want to re-sign a Tyler O'Neill. You're going to have to figure out what the hell you're going to do in the outfield. You want to bring in a Bregman and a Adames. I haven't looked at anyone else on the free agent list that I can remember off the top of my head, but you want to bring in any of those guys, you got to retool the entire infield to make it work. That's going to be the most complicated part of the offseason. And the bullpen is going to be complicated because how are you going to acquire it? There's the bullpen free agency is not great. Tanner Scott's on there, who I think personally should be a number 1 target. AJ Minter's on there. He should be an absolute target. But outside of that, do you bring back Chris Martin? He's getting older. He's been on the IL for 3 months or 3 separate times this season. He's not getting any younger. Right? You get Whitlock back. You got Hendricks. You got Fulmer. But are those guys those guys are all coming off of injury. There's just so much. Also, I'm glad you're enjoying the offseason hot stoves. I saw a couple of comments, people saying they really like it. I love the hot stove off-season streams. I think they're so fun. Yeah, that was a tough sentence to get out. I don't know. I just lost it completely there. Guerrero, Whitlock, Penrod, Murphy, Slayton, Kelly, Hendricks, Weiser, Priester, unless someone else gets pushed. But the problem with that, Lawson, right? Whitlock, Murphy, Hendricks are all coming off of injury. Penrod and Guerrero haven't spent more than 2 weeks in Major League Baseball. Weiser was fine last year. Kelly was unbelievably unreliable. Right, there's just no consistency there, and that's been the problem these last few years. There's been absolute talent in the Red Sox bullpen, but the problem is, you got to flush those out, and sometimes those aren't going to work. Who we get from Seattle for Casas? J.O., what is your thought process behind trading Casas, and how do you replace him on this team? I like the hot stove almost as much as the regular season. When the Red Sox have a bad offseason, sometimes the hot stove's a little bit more exciting. That sucks, Clip. What's going on, man? How do I think? I think Hendricks will be good, but again, relying on him is a risk, and I'm sick of taking risks with this bullpen. We the last couple of years, you've constantly taken risks. Get a legitimate consistency in here. Will Casas get traded? If Casas gets traded, every other possible avenue had to have been exhausted. That's the only answer that you can do, right? In my opinion, trading Casas makes absolutely no sense. None. Because you don't have any replacement. You don't have any promising prospects. the free agent market isn't that great. And if you trust Rafael Devers at first base, you didn't watch him at third base. No, AT. I'm certainly not. If the Red Sox traded Meyer and Casas for Skubal, I'd be happy. Wong at first. I mean, what? Right? Yeah, thank you, Dill. What are we talking? Like, as much as I love Connor Wong and as athletic as he is, he's not built for first base, and the dude wasn't all that good this year overall. Casas for Gilbert would be a terrible idea. If the Red Sox trade Casas for Vladdy and then sign him to a 10-year deal, fine. It's not going to happen. Right? It's just not going to happen. Like that would be I don't know. I just don't. It just, like, if you're talking, like, there's so many other areas where the Red Sox could trade from and be in a good situation. But trading Casas for a starter only gives you a starter and then creates an entirely different problem over there at first base. So you need to figure out. And Pete Alonso isn't the answer. Devers isn't the answer. You're going to need to go out and trade for another first baseman when you could just keep the first baseman, trade for a legitimate starter from an area where you could trade a Willier. You could trade a Duran. I know people hate it, but you could trade one of those two. You could trade an Anthony. You could trade a Campbell. You could trade George Kirby for Massa and a prospect. If the Mariners do that, I will personally drive myself to Seattle and kiss their GM directly on the mouth. Prodigy, I think it'll be Pedroia again. What's up, Ethan? Like, I sit there and there's just so much. I appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you. Who would I consider untradeable? The only people I would truly consider untradeable is Rafael Devers. I think that's kind of it, right? Because we're talking about the offseason, Ethan. What we get for Duran, hypothetically, you'd get a lot. Gold Glove first baseman, who? Eric, who? Right, who? And it's not so much that it's I do believe in Casas being a great player, and I think he is a great player. I think people wildly underrate him because he was hurt one season. He's had a season and a half in Major League Baseball, and people have totally made up their minds on him being a bad player. But it's also because of the situation. You say, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to go out and trade for a Gold Glove first baseman. Who? And why would you need to do that when you could just trade from the plethora of middle infielders and outfielders you have and not have to trade for anybody else to fill up a position spot? Right? Like why would you create another problem for yourself when Casas is coming off of a bad season in terms of his trade value? Could only get better because this year was, I mean, I don't want to put that out there, but right? Why would you create another problem when you could just utilize the insane depth you have in two different areas to not do that? Like it just doesn't make no it just doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Right, yeah, so there's your solution, right? You bring Paul Goldschmidt. What? Right? What? Like, if that's the solution to the problem, that's still a problem. Paul Goldschmidt was terrible this year. Who would you trade the big four for Tatis Jr.? Any of them. Any of them. Tatis would be absolutely incredible here. Yes, they're going to be off-season streams. Yeah, signing Goldschmidt would be unbelievably dumb. I'm sorry, it would be, right? Goldschmidt's got maybe a year left. You wouldn't trade Anthony for Tatis? I wouldn't even think about it. Paul Goldschmidt's going to be 37 next year. 37. I think people are just, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it'd be like signing Vada last year. Right, exactly. But that's my whole point, Prodigy, is that there's not a true solution to your problem. If you trade Tristan Casas, you would have to go out and you'd have to trade for somebody else. You'd have to, right? And that just, why would you do that to yourself when you have an area like middle infield, like outfield, where you could trade for higher value and get someone of higher value without creating this problem where it's Goldie or it's who? I don't even know any other first baseman, right? Like, it's like, who would fill that role? Vladdy? Yeah, great. Let's go and trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Pete Alonso, dude. 20 months from Mr. Clip Trip. Thank you so much for being here for 20 months. Waiter, one Max Fried and Trevor Rogers, please. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here for so long. Pete Alonso, not a good defensive first baseman. So there's our first problem, right? He's just a 3 true outcome guy, and he's going to be, he made $20 million this year. He's going to be looking for $30 million a year to put up essentially the exact same numbers as a healthy Tristan Casas. Yes, he probably has more home runs than Tristan Casas might hit, but the OPS is about the same. So you're going to pay more money for an older version of Tristan Casas with worse defense for what? Right? I just don't get it. Trade Wong? I would go ahead, trade Wong. Sounds good to me. Like, I mean, none of it makes any sense. If Casas is not going to get you a number one, is my point. Who do I think is 100% getting traded? I don't think there's anyone that's 100%, to be honest with you. There's so many options that you can't put anyone in the 100% category. Like if Tristan, like if your solution to the problem is Pete Alonso, you have a Pete Alonso that's 24 years old. All right, our boy Schreiber's coming in. Let's go. Number 2 starter for Casas? Maybe, but again, you could get a number 2 starter for Willier and replace him with the number 1 prospect in baseball. Right? You could trade a combination of Hamilton and Mydroth and a whole bunch of other people and get a solid starter and still have 2 top 10 prospects in baseball and Trevor Story and whoever you want. Would I trade Casas for Betts? I don't know, man. Maybe. Matt Olson. How are you going to get Matt Olson from the Braves? Caleb Ferguson. Sometimes probably you throw out names where I'm like, who? Who? I should probably know who he is. I don't. Oh, the Yankees. He's a free agent. He's a reliever, or he's with Houston. He had a good season or second half. He was bad in the first half. I don't know, man. He's had 2 tough years in a row. Pulled it together towards the end. He's just a sort of average reliever. I think you could do better. I think yeah, he's a lefty, but if you're gonna improve this team, improve it. You know what I mean? Louis Tion video. I appreciate that, Dave. I don't know, man. I don't like making death videos. I have been starting to think about doing some like video essays. Like I would love to do one on like Roger Clemens and why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Revisit the 2018 Red Sox. I would add Louis Tion into that too. Is there anyone that is Rule 5 eligible that's worth trade for pitching? Not alone. Maybe as throw-ins on a deal. There isn't a ton. What up, Flaunty? Yeah, Salty. In my opinion, yeah, I know. I just saw that. I can't believe Stan stole a base. I'm gonna look up the Red Sox Rule 5 people here. Rule 5 eligibility. Hunter Dobbins, maybe. That's a name to look out for. Maybe he gets moved. Yordani has some value. Blaze Jordan oh wow. Blaze Jordan's in the Rule 5. They protect him. I could see them trading Blaze Jordan. Jose Nixon Garcia's. Wow. There are some big names here, actually, for December 2024. There's some big names, actually. Jose Nixon Garcia has to be protected, I think. I would say it's Blaze Jordan, Jose Nixon Garcia, Hunter Dobbins, and Yordani Monegro, who have the highest value on this list. Man, that would suck to lose Jose Nixon. That is the password, yeah. I never watched Louis Tion. No, I didn't, but yeah. All right, JL. Thanks for stopping by, man. That is an unbelievable autocorrect. I did not see Louis Tion pitch in person, no. But when I was younger, he did him, Bill Lee, and Oil Can Boyd did a sort of like Legends pitching camp at Fisher Cats Stadium. And I did go to that, and he did teach me how to throw a slider. I didn't remember it. Yeah, that would be the ultimate answer, AT. What's the big rumor for the Sox right now? I mean, honestly, it's just interest stuff right now, right? I think the biggest rumors are about what the Red Sox plan is. But I mean, they've been attached to a few players. Right, that is sort of the big rumor, Jack. They've been attached to a few players, Max Fried specifically. We talked about Willie Adames today, Roki Sasaki. Tanner Scott's been someone that they've been talking about. Yeah, we'll see, Prodigy. I can't argue when people are so negative about what the Sox are going to do money-wise. I simply, in my head, just can't rationalize the Red Sox spending the way they did last offseason, this offseason. I just can't. There's no rationalization there. So for me, who kind of thinks things a little bit more analytically sometimes, like this one, I just, like, analytically, it just makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, AT. Honestly, that might be even more than I think the Red Sox need. Like, I don't think they need Snell, Bieber, and Lodolo. Although that'd be sick, because then you could put Cutter. No, kind of just Cutter, but yeah, they actually fired 6 AR. Full throttle. Yeah, they do, Eric. That they do. But again, the problem with just like, oh, they have the trade chips, they need to get it done, is what is the market going to look like, right? Are people going to okay. Are people going to want them all? I don't know. Right? I don't know. It's just the answer gets so much easier if the Red Sox just spend money. John Schreiber getting out of that was absolutely massive. The answer is just, like, if you just spend on a starter, dude, everything gets so much easier. It gets so much easier because then you don't need to trade the big guys to make it work. You can trade, I hate putting Willier. Willier should be considered one of the big guys at this point, but I mean, you got to put him in this category, right? Like, you could do Willier, Hamilton. Maybe throw a Wong in there, and you don't need to get high-level players if you just pay for them, because then you make room on your roster without actually having to make room by trading someone of extreme value. Like, I'm talking one of your 3 top 10 prospects in baseball, right? Like, suck it up and pay somebody, and then everything becomes so much easier. He's gonna be a free agent, Flanty. What's the catching situation? The catching situation is really interesting because I don't think Tyler O'Neill. I should email John Henry. You're right, man. He would listen. Imagine all he was waiting for was this guy Red Sea, like they spend a ton of money and they're like, yeah, this kid Red Sea Radio. I don't know. He just emailed me one day and I was like, that's the guy I want. You know what? I'm listening to that guy. Yeah, the catchy situation's going to be really interesting. I think it's one of the more underrated situations for the Red Sox this offseason because I don't think Kyle Teal's fully major league ready. I think he's close. I don't think he's there yet, which is interesting. I'm trying to see if we're gonna get this back or if I'm gonna have to stop stream and start it again. Maybe this is just sucking up my memory. No, it's not that they've ignored it, Eric. No one's ignoring the trade chips. Trust me. Everyone is. Who have you seen ignore the trade chips? All we've done this entire live stream is talk about the trade chips. We have mentioned free agent starters. That's it. Who is ignoring it? Literally everyone on planet Earth firmly believes the Red Sox are going to make a large signing or a large trade. I'm just saying, like, you can avoid doing that and giving up these guys that you've sort of been like, this is the future of the Red Sox on for the last 3 years by just spending money. That's all you have to do. I need a Monster drink. Why? I think the real question is, would a premium starter choose to come here, or the Red Sox reputation is tarnished in terms of willingness to win? I think money talks, dude. If the Red Sox are in on somebody, they're going to have to overpay to get him. It's just, yeah, kind of, right? I mean, you had Jordan Montgomery come out and flat out say, I didn't sign the deal that was a 4-year deal laid out in front of him for the Red Sox because I wanted to win, right? I think that's absolutely part of it. But you're going to have to, like, if you just give him a ton of money and say, look, dude, we are committed to winning. That's why we're giving you $40 million more than anyone else is offering. It's hard to say no, right? No, I don't love the idea. Yeah, I don't love the idea of a crochet extension, honestly. There is indeed. That's, to me, Eric, that's where, like, I think we talked about it. And I agreed with you, Eric. When we talked about one of the videos we did where we talked about Breslow's comments about it was Jen McCaffrey who wrote an article, and she said, like, there's a consensus here in the Red Sox organization that they're thinking of allocating funds to starting pitching and trades to relievers. And I actually think that makes a lot of sense, right? Because I think again, like I talked about, one legitimate frontline starting pitcher, a Burns, a Fried, if you can go big and actually get one of those guys, you kind of figure it out in terms of your rotation. The bullpen's going to be really interesting. In my opinion, you've got two really solid bullpen options on the free agent market, Tanner Scott and AJ Minter. Outside of that, yeah, there are issues, I think, with everybody that you talk about. Right? So, yeah, I could see them going towards the relief market or maybe even trading for a back-end starter that they think could be a really good reliever. I think that make a lot of sense. But again, if you just spend the money, if you just simply spend the money, then all of that becomes a whole lot easier because now you got so much to work with in terms of fixing the bullpen and getting a better balance in the lineup. Yeah, AT, and I think a lot of that is going to end up being experience, right? We talked about that a lot with the swing and miss. I think there's a lot of experience that comes with swing and miss. What's up, Wes? Yeah, Crochet's a really interesting conversation to have because again, like I talked about, he's really the only, right now at least, he's the only legitimate ace caliber player on the trade market, right? So, which means it's gonna get crazy in terms of bidding. The question is, do you want the Red Sox to get crazy over a guy like Crochet? Relievers gonna be high demand. Yeah, relievers could be high demand, especially on the free agent market. Wendy's has a Krabby Patty. What is it? Tom Smith. Yeah, Lugo did that. Doesn't always work. Yeah, but when you have a guy like Fried who makes all the sense in the world, like I just like how can you sit there and say it doesn't work? All of the top 5 payrolls in baseball are in the postseason. Every single one of them. Chris Martin looks more tempting. Yeah, when you're talking just about spending, he does look more tempting. I'll give you that. Yeah, someone finally woke up Mookie. Let's go. It's about damn time. Yeah, Crochet and Burns, I would be shocked. I don't want to see Machado with that World Series trophy. Yeah, but I do want to see Bogarts with that World Series trophy really bad. Okay, AT. We'll talk about it another time. Yeah, Crochet to me is a very interesting one. Padres deserve a title. Padres are fun to watch. As much as I hate Machado, man, they're fun to watch. Don Orsillo deserves a ring. Yeah. About JD Martinez with the trophy. Honestly, I don't know. What do you mean Machado strikes out so much? What? I didn't say anything about Machado striking out. I said I didn't like him. There you go, JN. See, that's the trade I've been looking for right there. Judge and Soto for Yoshida and Ref Snyder. Perfect. No, I said the Padres are fun to watch, Tony. I said I hate Machado. I've always said I hated Machado. Yeah, no. We don't like Machado here. Would love to go back and trade for Scooball. Yeah, yeah. That was suggested a couple of times. I actually think I made a video about it, but that would have been so sweet. Oh, Mickey Gasper. He's the man from Merrimack, New Hampshire. Hey, that mustache would sell some tickets. I think the Dodgers would consider it. Gasper for C, Stash for Stash. There you go. Perfect. Are there any power hitting catchers on the free agent market? Not really. What's up, Joey? Yeah, not really. Unfortunately, the catching market's kind of brutal, dude. Which is what makes the catching situation so interesting for the Red Sox. Like here's the unrestricted free agents for catchers: James McCann, Danny Jansen, Austin Hedges, Yasmani Grandal, Kyle Higashioka, which I actually wouldn't mind, Andrew Kisner, Reese McGuire, Kurt Casale, Elias Diaz, which, again, another guy I really wouldn't mind, Sebi Zavala, Alex Jackson, Andrew Knapp, Jackson Reitz, Ali Sanchez, Rob Brantley, and Carson Kelly. It's just brutal free agent class for catchers. Like, that's terrible. Elias Diaz wouldn't be a bad one, but man. What I think they do with Connor Wong, he kind of got it. Unless you want to sign a Higashioka and bring up Teal, which I don't think makes a ton of sense to bring up Teal right off the gate. I think Teal needs another, I would even say half year in the minors, but honestly, Fortnite, I don't know. Being one they worry about? Yeah, I think you're right, versatility. I do think that they're comfortable with Wong for now. But I think it's mostly because they don't have much options. Unless, again, they want to trade for it, but you can't trade for everybody on the team. Soto better than O'Neill. Yeah. The problem with platooning a lefty, AR, is how many left-handed starters are you playing in a regular season, right? Maybe 2 a week. Most likely it's going to be right-handers, so you're still playing Teal much more often. Brazier, no, that'd be so funny. A left-handed or switch hitting catcher in the minors. I mean, but you're gonna draft a guy and do what, right? I don't know. The Red Sox got Johan Fran Garcia coming up too. He's a big guy I would keep an eye on. I don't know, dude. There's not a ton of options for legitimate catching. So is it just Connor Wong by sort of designation, right? They just don't have anybody else. Yeah, I would agree with that, Tony. Johan Fran's like 3 years away. No, but that's my point. Would I call up Hickey? Is Hickey even in the organization anymore? I don't think Nathan Hickey is in the organization. This would be such a miserable time. He's in AAA? No, he got moved off the AAA roster. Oh, he's in AA now? I thought he could trade for cash. I don't know. I love Wong as a backup. Yeah, but the problem is you don't have anyone to put in front of him right now. He's 450 max. No, Soto will get over $500 million. We're in a weird ass position right now as a team. Yeah, they are, right? Because they're close, but they're not close. It is. It's a weird conversation to have. We moved McGuire down. I thought they did that. I thought they moved him down to AA after, like, towards the end of the year. Maybe I was wrong. Oh wow, they put Brady Singer in this game. That's crazy. You're in Florida. Well, I really hope you're safe. Yeah, we're so close but so far. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, but what would your reaction be if they signed Soto for, let's say, $500 million, right? And then traded Roman Anthony for just like a stud starter? Are you mad about that? Oh, they got him on the check swing. Dodgers and Padres? No, but the Tigers are doing well right now. I think in terms of talent, you actually have more talent than the Tigers. The Guardians, I think you could catch up to pretty quickly in terms of talent, right? Even honestly, the Royals, right? I think you catch up to the Royals pretty quickly. Like okay, again, I'm gonna put this out there because I do want to have a conversation about it. I don't think it's incredibly realistic, but if the Red Sox came into this offseason and said, hey, we are going to sign Juan Soto and then we're trading Roman Anthony. Like, say you trade Roman Anthony for my first thought was Paul Skeens, but that's not realistic. What if they trade him for like Kirby and Matt Brash? So they get Kirby and then a high leverage reliever. Oh, I'm taking Pablo Reyes every day, Dill. What's up, Joe? Don't like Kirby splits. I mean, that's fine, but at the same time, too, when you're in such a hitter friendly or in such a pitcher friendly ballpark, your splits are going to be worse on the road, right? That's how it's going to work. Just like almost every Yankee is worse on the road OPS, or any Colorado player, right? There's always that conversation of is it worth it because of their home road splits? Of course they're going to be better at home. Like I like if the Red Sox do that, I'm happy. As much as I love Roman Anthony, if you get Juan Soto, I'll throw up. Jared Jones, yeah, that'd be a great one. Can we keep Duran? Yeah, hypothetically, you keep Duran. No, JN, that would be unbelievably dumb. Haven't we had a conversation, JN, about how bad Devers is at third base? I very specifically remember us arguing because I said he was getting better and you said he was terrible. You want to put that guy at first base? Do we have the money for what? Duran? Yeah, he's going to cost like maybe $5 million. For Anthony for Kirby and Polanco? Yeah, that'd be interesting. If you get Juan Soto and do that, fine. Duran will be pricey? No, it'll be $5 million. In the future, I don't know, dude, because he's going to be 32 by the time he hits free agency. I wouldn't say he's going to be crazy pricey. Teal's not ready for Major League Baseball yet, I don't think. He's going to be really good. I just don't think he's there yet. Ugh, man, the Royals really need to do something here. Is Kenley gone for sure yet? Yeah, Kenley's not. The fact that Kenley left this team 3 days early and then went to Dodger Stadium, hung out in the clubhouse with the Dodgers with all Dodgers merch on is kind of really crappy. That's just an absolute brutal thing to do to a team, in my opinion. Yeah, I saw UAR. I get it. I know, but yeah, he did. Yeah, he was taking pictures with Mookie in the dugout. He was taking pictures with the Dodgers owner with Dodgers gear on. It was ridiculous. Like that. Yeah, that. I mean, at this point, it's just funny. Like it's just funny. Yeah, it's 6 years, Dave, I think. No, it's not confirmed. He can't sign until free agency opens up, which is 5 days after the World Series. Ugh, just brutal at bats from the Royals right now. Anthony, Rafael, and Abreu for the next 10 years. I love Rafaela. The bat might not be good enough to be a true everyday player. And as much as I like him, love Rafaela, but if that's the bat you're going to get, and I do think there's potential to be better, right? We saw it for stretches last year, but if that's sort of the, what you're going to get from Rafaela, I don't know. Any update on Hamilton injury? Yeah, he'll be fine. Kind of genetic. I honestly, Kenley, in my opinion, was gone for a long time, right? Kenley was gone for a long time. Sogard's like a Brock Holt. I agree. I love Nick Sogard. I'd love to see him with this big league team next year. I don't know if he will be, but I would love to see him. Is Hamilton a piece or a bench? I would put Hamilton up on the market. Yeah, Romy's got to be a bench piece. He was really good. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Genetic. Yeah, it's kind of like if I'm trying to think of a, because like it would have been like if Justin Turner. No, because that's kind of different. Yeah. It would have been like if John Lester, right, in his last season with the Nationals, left the Nationals and was just hanging out with the Red Sox. Yeah, he could AR, but I don't know, dude. I just like Rafaela to me, if he's gonna have that swing and miss problems, it makes it really hard for, and again, Kirby Yates on the trade. I think Kirby Yates is a free agent, actually. I hit the 3,000 mark? I don't think so, dude. I don't think there's many people in baseball I think could get to that. Mookie? What's Mookie at right now? I don't know if Mookie's close enough. I don't know his hit total, to be honest with you, well enough to give you a legitimate answer to that. Devers? Probably not. Yeah, Mookie's halfway there, and he's been in the league for 11 years. Devers is probably less than that. Yeah, he's a third of the way there, and he's been in the league for 8 years. So he would have to play basically 24 seasons to get 3,000 hits. Just doesn't make, yeah. I really don't think there's going to be anyone close. Ah, crap. Why did I do that? Hey, Steven. Roman Anthony will get 3,000? Oh, yeah, easily. Luis Arise? No, because Luis Arise wasn't very good for his first few years. Like to be 3,000 hits, man. Like that's like a 15-year career where you're constantly hitting well over 300. That's just not common in today's game. Yeah, scary stuff, Steven. Jeter did it. Boggs did it. Yeah. But again, dude, you're talking about players who have had consistently 300 averages for 15 years. It's just not a thing anymore. It's a different game. Ugh, I'm losing my iPad battery, folks. When that dies, I think I'll probably call stream there. It's been almost 3 hours of talking some Sox off season. Well, that sucks. That was a bad omen. I can see them bringing in Mike Napoli. Hopefully Sox snag a pitcher. Yeah. Most valuable sports card? I don't know. Talking the Sox off. Most valuable, probably one of those Ted Williams cards, I would guess. Hate that. I mean, in all fairness, Kansas City had their opportunities. Yeah, I saw that, Christian. It'd be cool. He did that last year too, where he coached. All right, Dave. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you. He did it last year where he coached a Cape Cod League team. Why is Stan doing good now? Who knows? I mean, that was kind of a cheeseball pitch, honestly. Stan is cheating. Boy, would I love that. What, and now he's taking over the team, Christian? Just wait for Bobby. That'd be sick. That's awesome, Steven. Unretired Tech. Yeah, that'll fix all the issues behind the dish. So just unretire Tech. Buddy's knees are just non-existent. We'll throw some of those. What are those cushions they use in like Cal Ripken? Revive Ted Williams. Hey, his head is frozen somewhere. It would be absolutely wild. Excuse me. If technology ever does get to a place where they can reanimate those heads and he just has like a mechanical body and like, what are you going to, you can't say no. He just comes back to Major League Baseball and it's just insane. That'd be so sweet. Who do I think will end up wearing a Red Sox uniform in 2025? Pitching wise, I'm gonna play it safe and I'm gonna say Walker Buehler. Kind of miss the olden days. Baseball's still fun. Is that playing it safe? In terms of my prediction, yes. Not for the Red Sox, no. Walker sucks recently. Yep. He's a project. I can't go out there and make a bold statement that they're going to sign Max Fried or Corbin Burns. Think it's going to be Flaherty? I could see Flaherty. Buehler's too old. Isn't Buehler like 30 years old? I don't think Buehler's too old. What is he? Yeah, he's 30. Big Papi's a man. Japanese young star. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't even know if he's going to get posted. We talked about that in the video, right? I don't know if he gets posted. If he does, yeah, they should absolutely be in on him. I don't think he gets posted either. Yeah, I don't think he ends up getting posted, but it'd be fun. Johnny Damon or Jacoby Ellsbury? Peak, you take Jacoby. Overall, I think you take Damon. All right, folks. I'm going to call it a stream there. My iPad just died. There's the rumor. There you go. Sasaki 1 more year in Japan. So I'm going to call the stream there. We had some good conversations this stream. I think for those of you who haven't been here for the years, this is sort of what the offseason streams are like. A lot of them are just having hypothetical conversations. As we get into the offseason, we're going to go much more in depth into sort of conversations about rumors and about, reports and stuff like that. Hopefully we're live for a couple of different things. That would be kind of cool. But either way, this was sort of the first one of these. So I hope you guys are ready for a whole bunch of off-season conversations, because that's all we're going to be talking about for the next 6 months. But either way, off-season hasn't even started. And a lot of you guys were here for 2 hours and 45 minutes to talk about essentially hypotheticals. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. I cannot wait for the offseason to start to get into it with you guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. We do these once a week, and we talk Red Sox basically every single day. Make sure you guys hit the like button on this video on your way out. Just helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you enjoy them. I will see you tomorrow for a video, and of course, every single time in the Red Sox.